Hi, my name is Anna. I'm a courseware developer and trainer at Logarithm. In this presentation, I'll introduce you to the Investigate tool located in the Logarithm Sim desktop console. The personal dashboard for the Logarithm Sim is shown here. It allows you to view real-time event data as it enters into the Logarithm platform. Because of the large volume of data entering the Logarithm platform, data is only displayed for a limited amount of time. Most analysts choose to view somewhere between 6 and 48 hours worth of data at a time. Because the personal dashboard displays only events and alarm data, this may hide from view less critical log messages such as common network statistics information. The Investigate tool is used to view data that is not displayed on your personal dashboard because perhaps it was not classified as an event or the specified time period to view that data has passed. Think of the Investigate tool as a search tool. The Investigate tool allows you to perform a search for information by setting specific criteria. Using the Investigate tool, you have the option to look at all data types, including events, raw log messages, and the associated metadata. The Investigate tool also allows you to research historical information no longer displayed on the personal dashboard. Before I review how to use the Investigate tool, it's important to know what kind of data you're searching for and where that data is stored. You can search event data stored in the events database for 90 days. You can search metadata, which is stored in the LogMart database, for 365 days. Or you can search all logs, which are stored in the Log Manager database, for 10 days. Let me review these databases in more detail. The Events database contains a small portion of the total number of logs that are collected by the Logarithm platform. Events represent more significant activity in the environment, such as security-related logs or system error messages. Events are actionable items. For example, items that can trigger alarms or have smart response auto remediation actions assigned. The Events database stores both the raw log message and the parsed metadata for these events. This data is stored in the Events database for 90 days. As you might recall, every raw log message received in the Logarithm platform is parsed for metadata information. The LogMart database stores this metadata, and because this data is much smaller in physical size on the disk, it can be stored for 365 days. Keep in mind that LogMart also, by default, contains data for logs that are flagged as an event and could contain other data as defined by custom log processing policies. Log processing policies, as seen here in the Deployment Manager, provide administrators with flexibility to specify how the log processing occurs for events and the data that is sent to LogMart for long-term storage. The Log Manager database, also referred to as the LMDB, contains all log data that has come into the platform from the various log sources. Log sources are the individual log files that are monitored by the Logarithm agents. Log sources gather a wide range of log types, including flat files, syslogs, Microsoft event logs, FIM data from the agent itself, as well as UDLA log-like data from a relational database, SDEE log information from Cisco IDS IPS devices, checkpoint data, and many more log types. It's important to note that multiple Log Manager appliances can exist in your environment, but not every log is stored in every LMDB. Each Log Manager stores data sent to it by its agents, and agents can only report to one single Log Manager. If you know the Log Manager associated to the event for which you're searching, you can select to run your investigation on a specific LMDB, or by default, the Investigate tool will query all LMDBs. The LMDB contains both the raw log message and the associated parsed metadata for the messages gathered from the log sources. Because this is a large volume of data, it's only stored in the LMDB for 10 days. Now that you're familiar with the types of data storage in Logarithm, let's review how to use the Investigate tool to find some of that data. Open the Investigate tool by clicking Investigate on the top bar in the console. The Investigator wizard presents options to configure a new investigation or select a saved investigation. Many saved investigations are included out of the box with the compliance packages that can be loaded into the Logarithm platform, such as PCI, HIPAA, and SOX compliance packages. You can also save newly configured investigations for future use. So if you have a critical server or network device that's monitored for certain common log activity, A custom investigation can be created and then saved in the list of these searches. In this video, I'll review the new investigation option. However, if you launch a saved investigation, you'll see it's very similar, allowing you to make small alterations to the search criteria used by that investigation. Here, I've selected Configure New Investigation, and now I'll click Next to proceed. This dialog box allows you to specify what data you're looking for and from where to pull that data. This is why understanding where data is stored is important when running an investigation. In this exercise, I'll demonstrate an investigation. I'm looking for all information related to recent successful authentication type activity over the last 3 hours. Since I'm attempting to find all log data that occurred within the last 10 days, a Log Manager search will provide the necessary information. Keep in mind that the Log Manager search contains all event data and it also contains all the collected logs. Searches from the LMDB are often necessary because all relevant data can be seen together. However, these searches often take quite longer to run and the results are typically larger due to this additional data. In many cases, this data can be quite useful, but be aware, some of the data returned can be considered noise or purely informational data that may not be useful in your particular investigation. It's easy to pull all logs, but difficult to sort through the massive data returned. So spend a few extra minutes here to configure your investigation specific to the information you need to see, so you're not digging through all this junk data later. In this window, in addition to choosing where to pull data from, you must also select how much data to query in the form of a date range. Be sure to configure a date range that's compatible with the length of time data is stored in your selected query above, or you'll get no results. For example, you can't search the events database for information occurring 6 months back. You would need to search LogMart for data older than 90 days. I'm searching for data within the last 3 hours. The Date is Before option allows you to search on as much data as is available in your selected database, starting on a specified date and moving back in time. In the picture shown here, a search would begin on June 8, 2015 at midnight and move backward. Using a Log Manager search type, only the 10 days worth of data previous to today would be available. The Date is After option allows you to search on all data starting on a specified date and moving forward to the current time. The Date is Between option allows you to search on all data existing within a specified time range. In this example, I selected Log Manager Search and adjusted the date range to query the last 3 hours. I click Next to proceed. The next step in performing an investigation is to identify which log sources to query. If you know the log source associated to the information for which you're searching, you can select to run your investigation on that specified log source, or you can choose to query all log sources. In this example, I'll select to query all available log sources. I click Next to proceed. The next component to the Investigate tool is the Event Selection Filter. These filters can be found in several forms within the Logarithm console. The Investigate tool, the Tail tool, Reports, and Alarms all use a similar form of this filter to build its selection criteria. Understanding how to properly search and filter data will ensure your success in using Logarithm. You should add at least one filter to narrow down your search results. The filtering system is very powerful, and your filter can be set very broad, or you can add multiple filters to return very specific information if you know exactly what you're looking for. In the example shown here, I click to add a new filter and select Classification from the drop-down list. As you can see, there are many other metadata fields listed here. I click Edit Values to configure specific classification information for my filter. The selection filter contains 2 filter modes. You can filter data in, or you can filter data out of your investigation results. You can also choose to filter in null values. For example, as an administrator, you might want to verify that all logs are being processed correctly in Logarithm, so you select to filter in all logs where no classification was assigned. You could then review any resulting logs and fine-tune the message processing engine rules to ensure those logs receive a classification going forward. In this exercise, I'm demonstrating an investigation for all information related to recent successful authentication type log data collected in the last 3 hours. So I select to filter in data and I click Add Item to edit my list of filter values. I select the classification type filter of Audit with a classification of Authentication Success. I click OK, and after verifying the filter value has been added, I click OK again. I can now see my event selection criteria here. If I wanted additional filters, I could click to add new field filters as desired, but since I'm looking for a very broad list of logs, my filter is complete and I click Next to proceed. The screen here is displayed because I selected a log manager search in the previous steps. This log repository option helps determine from where the log data will be gathered. In the case of multiple log managers in your environment, this setting allows you to restrict which log managers to query. This is often helpful, for example, if you have log managers deployed geographically and only require information from a local source. The settings section allows for the refinement on how much data to return in an investigation. Keep in mind the larger the values, the longer the query will take to complete. In this example, I select to query all default log managers. I leave the default settings and click Next. The final step in the Investigator Wizard is the option to save the investigation configuration. If you wish to save this investigation, enter a name, an optional description, and set the level of permissions. You can configure the permissions for read and write access to be publicly available to all users. You can assign different read and write access to the various user role types, or you can choose to keep the investigation private and only accessible to you. In my example, I don't want to save this investigation, so I simply click Next or Launch to start the investigation. When it has completed, the results are displayed in the Log/Event Analyzer window in the Personal Dashboard. Here I can analyze the data. I see the classification of authentication success, for which I specified in the Investigate tool, along with the associated common event types and other metadata parsed from the log messages. Whether you're monitoring live, real-time data via the Personal Dashboard or using the Investigate tool to research and identify threats that have happened in the past, the Logarithm platform provides visibility into threats and risks to which your organization might otherwise be blind. For more information, please visit logarithm.com.